Here lies the carcass of Star Wars, once a majestic and captivating symphony that extolled bravery, compassion, and boundless optimism, now brutally slaughtered on June 11, 2024. The renowned Star Wars universe, birthed from the visionary mind of George Lucas, once sent shivers of awe through the spines of millions when A New Hope graced screens in May of 1977. The escapades of Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, Princess Leia, and Chewbacca enraptured audiences, igniting a sense of exploration and urging viewers to aspire to their highest potential, pushing the boundaries of human achievement. Yet, 16 years following the conclusion of the original trilogy, the prequel era dawned in May 1999. Through the trials and triumphs of Obi-Wan Kenobi, Anakin Skywalker, and Padme Amidala, the expansive universe of this beloved saga blossomed into realms of imagination previously unexplored, crafting intricate and immersive landscapes of politics, factions, and characters until its culmination in May 2005. However, George Lucas's decision to entrust the legacy of Star Wars to Disney in 2012 marked the inception of what can only be described as the dark times. This entertainment behemoth hastily churned out a trilogy of sequel films devoid of coherent vision or plan, resulting in a deep schism within the fanbase. While briefly reigniting hope with The Mandalorian, Disney shamelessly exploited its success, prioritizing a flood of series over meaningful cinematic endeavors. Each new installment ruthlessly dismantled the icons of our childhood, whether it was the venerable Obi-Wan in the Kenobi series or the legendary Boba Fett in the Book of Boba Fett. And just when one believed expectations could not possibly plummet any lower, Leslie Headland, former protege and personal assistant of Harvey Weinstein, unleashed, produced, and directed The Acolyte, a series that has not only severed, but eviscerated the very essence of Star Wars, leaving it irreparably marred and devoid of its once potent soul. If somehow you've made it this far in The Acolyte, which is only 3 episodes in, I applaud you because I don't know how you could have done it. My patience and perseverance for watching this series is at an all-time low, and I'm really questioning if I should even continue to watch the series, because after this episode, I believe Star Wars is absolutely dead. And Leslie Headland, with the force of Kathleen Kennedy and all the brilliant minds at Disney, have forced this series into the ground, and this is the final nail in the coffin. Star Wars is officially dead after this point, and we just have to look back to the past. We have to look at the great content that came from the original trilogy, and the world building, and the incredible design of the prequel era, and to touch on the Clone Wars series, because the Clone Wars really defined and give a lot of heart and soul to the prequel era as well. So I definitely give Cartoon Network and Star Wars the credit for that. As for episode 3, let's get into the synopsis and further evaluation of the latest damning episode of The Acolyte. The episode unfolds 16 years prior to the present narrative, focusing on the contentious relationship between the twins, Osha and May, amidst a coven of witches. Osha hesitates to undergo the Ascension baptismal ceremony, while May eagerly anticipates it. Amidst a female-dominated backdrop featuring uninspired character designs and lackluster settings, we encountered Mother Onisea and her Zabrak Lady Fred, who inexplicably conceived and birthed the twins themselves. In a scene epitomizing atrocious choreography, we're subjected to a contrived discourse on a new and improved interpretation of the Force, suggesting its potency lies in collective numbers. This is something we've never seen before in Star Wars, where a bunch of people can come together and somehow use the will of the Force against itself and become powerful as a Force entity through a mass of people, through a mass of Force users. It's absolutely ridiculous. And watching this hilarious display, I was left speechless. I can't possibly imagine why they let this pass the chopping block. It's ridiculous, and it completely goes against everything we've seen in the original trilogy, the prequel trilogy, Star Wars The Clone Wars, the lore, the expanded universe. It's a complete disrespectful motion to oust the past and introduce a new future, Leslie Headland's future, which you are not a part of. If you're a Star Wars fan, she doesn't care about you, and she does not respect you. She does not respect your time. I have to say that this entire episode, especially this idea, surpasses the cringe of every drunken gag that has come from Jar Jar's lips. Anyways, after the Force play, the witches gather in front of a crater to begin the ceremony to enlighten the twins. May is the first victim of this odd, disgusting ceremony, and Osha was next to follow up, until a group of 4 Jedi intervened. The 4 Jedi consisted of Master Sol, Master Endara, Padawan Torben, and Kelnaka the Wookiee. These 4 are hunted by May in the present time period of the series. If you remember Master Torben, he's Padawan Torben here, he was the little, he looked like a baby with a beard. He was the one that was floating, and he'd been meditating for 10 years, and once he's done meditating, he's so sorry because he did something awful and he kills himself in front of May. That was absolutely ridiculous. Never should have made it into a Star Wars project. No Jedi would ever kill themselves like that for no apparent reason, especially just out of grief. Absolutely not. Also, Carrie Ann Moss's character, Master Indara, she was in this, and she was the one that died from a knife to the chest. It's so funny how Jedi, somehow she dies, she gets a knife in the chest, but the incredible Sabine Wren takes a lightsaber to the stomach and survives. So that just shows you how straight Disney's shooting with their content. They were alerted to investigate the Coven after sensing the presence of the children. The Jedi were in the belief that they were Force sensitive and asked the mother for permission to examine their gifts. Although the witches hate and despise the Jedi, they allowed their evaluation to persist. Osha passed the test, and May refused to be examined. Excited to leave the Coven to join Master Soul as his new Padawan, Osha was left imprisoned by her sister May. Hate-fueled and disappointed, May attempts to kill Osha by burning her alive in her locked room. Terrified little Osha escapes her doom and bumps into May yet again. As the two tussle between each other, they fall into a deep pit amassed from May's attempted murder. Plummeting to their death, Master Soul reaches out and rescues Osha while unable to save May in time. As they retreat from the disaster, the two are horrified to see that the entire camp is on fire, torn apart, and littered with dead witches. Thus ends the Episode 3 premiere of The Acolyte. Something that is definitely a question for everybody to ponder is, how did everything just completely go to shit? Because everything absolutely did. When Osha and Master Soul were leaving, everybody was dead, all the witches were dead, the whole place was on fire, and it's implausible that it was May's little fire that caused this. I understand fires can of course spread all over the place, but literally all the witches were just dead out of nowhere. So the twist is absolutely going to be that some of these Jedi killed these witches. They're going to be the victims, of course they're going to be the victims, and the Jedi are of course going to be evil because that's what Leslie Headland thinks. All the protagonists we grew up with, a lot of the Jedi that served as great role models for us as young people, young men and women, and as people of all backgrounds and statuses could admire and look up to. They are all evil. They're all evil. They're all inherently evil. In Leslie Headland's eyes, that's the case at least. And she's really trying to show that in this. And there'll be some sort of twist that yes, the Jedi killed all these witches, and they were probably in the wrong all along. And we're supposed to think that's so crazy, so interesting. Wow, what a flip. The Jedi are evil. We don't want that. We don't care about that, and it's ridiculous, especially because the implementation of such ways in this series is just poor and abysmal. You'll see. If you don't believe me, watch the series. You don't have to listen to me. If you want to see the series, go ahead. It's as bad as I say it is. So to conclude this video, I want to share some of my thoughts, because I have to say that this is the poorest writing you'll ever see in any Star Wars project. Somehow it surpasses the writing quality as the lowest, even in terms of Boba Fett, Book of Boba Fett being on the list. This is worse than that, somehow. None of the characters have any chemistry. There's no chemistry between these guys once or ever. If you see, especially, I hate to say it, the poor little girls that are playing Osha and May in this episode, it's abysmal. I have respect that they're trying to, they're going into the acting world. Good for them. They're in a Star Wars series. They deliver a terrible performance. And I know they're kids, but they don't belong in this. They don't belong in this series. And you can't completely blame them, because they obviously had really poor direction and really poor writing. And when you watch them interact with each other, it's cringy and it's painful to watch, which is unfortunate to say. But the same goes for all the characters. I'd say the only one that doesn't really suffer from this problem is Master Soul. I think he does a pretty good job of posing some sort of chemistry with the teenage Osha, but otherwise it's inauthentic, and I just don't want to dive into any conversation with any of these characters. I don't want to explore who they are. I don't want to see how they interact with each other. I don't care about the relationships once or ever. It's uninteresting and it's uninspiring by every metric. And the Force play, I'm calling it Force play. The Force play between the witches, when they are literally playing with the Force and giving it a new definition, giving it a new meaning, and pushing each other and using the Force to test each other is... It's hilarious. It's hilarious, and it's embarrassing, and it's just such a pure representation of what this series is, which is a hilarity and a complete and utter disrespect of Star Wars, just wearing the face of Star Wars as a disguise, because this is not Star Wars. It's not Star Wars at all. And all of this really adds up to become a massive spit in the face to Star Wars fans, because for whoever still follows Star Wars, I know that they have faith that somehow Disney's going to turn this around. They're not going to turn it around, guys. I'm sorry. Not until recently have I understood how Disney's really destroyed a lot of our favorite heroes. Obi-Wan Kenobi, Boba Fett. I mean, Mandalorian. They cut his balls off in season 3 of Mandalorian. But I didn't see all this until, I don't know, maybe a little over a year ago, and truly understood that Disney has been doing all these things to us. And as enlightened as I am now from understanding this, I just urge you just give up on Star Wars. Disney Star Wars, it's not Star Wars. Disney Star Wars is its own thing. It's its own thing. Don't count, this is not Star Wars. And as long as Kathleen Kennedy is helming and CEO, president of Lucasfilm, as long as she's there, as long as she's giving all these orders to these directors, creators to make this garbage, it's going to keep coming. And there's no end in sight for when her reign is going to end. And lastly, I want to thank you for watching this video. I really appreciate your viewership. If you made it this far, thank you. I hope you enjoyed the content. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Did you like Acolyte for whatever reason? Express your opinions. You know, I'd like to hear. I feel like the majority of viewers are really going to be disappointed by this if they still had hope and apathy hadn't set in yet, which it has for me. Yeah, let me know in the comments below what you think. What do you think the future of Star Wars should be? If George Lucas could even come back to Star Wars, would that even save it? I really don't think it can, as long as Kathleen Kennedy is leading the helm here and Bob Iger's in the really big seat up top. Yeah, let me know in the comments below. If you want to see more content like this, consider subscribing to my channel. I'm a pretty new YouTuber, but I've had a lot of fun, and I mostly cater to doing movie reviews. I love doing movie reviews. I'm going to see Inside Out 2 this Thursday, so I'm going to be making a review on that. Perfect opportunity for Disney to do their thing with that, if you know what I mean. So we'll see, and I'll let you know to see if they've made a change or not. But yeah, consider subscribing to my channel. I'd really appreciate it. Leave a thumbs up on the video, and I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching.